Hey, look what we have here. I know what you're gonna say. Job, it's been a while since the last time you posted videos. And because of that, I actually really appreciate for what you do. Because you're not spamming my notifications. You know how many other YouTube channels I click the notification bell to, and I just get spam with all these YouTube videos that they post like on the daily? Yeah, I appreciate you, Job. I knew that's what exactly, I knew exactly what you were gonna say, okay? But hey, I got you. That's why you should click the notification bell and subscribe. But for those who are genuinely curious as to why it's been so long, I'm just gonna be brutally honest with you guys. I've just kind of been putting this in the back burner for a little bit, cause just, you know, editing these videos are a little bit tedious, just a little. But I'm not here to complain. I'm back. I've been editing a lot of videos for my internship, so I feel a little more confident in working on editing my own videos. It's starting to pick up a vibe again. Does that make sense? Besides, you haven't missed out on much. I still don't have a job. It's been an entire year now. But there are a few changes. You probably see this new setup that I have. So there's a little more to look at. You got my sexy little Lego Death Star that I made when I was like 6 years old. You got all my guitars down over there for shredding. Got my keyboard right here. You could see my PC setup, and got a new desk. I'm not dying. I've been grinding really hard on my music business for my solo artist Violin shredder. So if you want to check that out, it's on Spotify, Apple Music, you name it. You can always check it out. It's heavy metal violin music. So, and hey, if it's not your taste, it's not your taste. And somehow I'm now a Twitch affiliate and my streams are kind of a thing. So there's that for you if you want to check that out. Otherwise, I'm still kind of that kid sleeping under my parents' basement, because that's just where the world's at right now. That's kind of where my world's at right now. Well, I just wanted to give you a quick update, because I know why you're really here. Listen, the thing is, I'm actually a huge Halo fan. If you saw my cringe video, you saw some of the things I made when I was a kid. You know, I made an energy sword when I was a kid. And now, if you look at what I have, I want you to admire this as much as I did. I did make this. This is the MA5D assault rifle. I didn't just stop making energy swords. This is my custom Halo red infected energy sword. And that's just touching the surface of how big of a Halo nerd I am. But I will, if you guys are really curious, I will save that for another video. Also, there's been a lot of news in Halo Infinite that's been shared to the fans. And I do want to address those, but that'll be in another video, so I'm just letting you know now that it is in the works. I'm going to push it a little, all right? I'm going to say a little controversial in the Halo universe. I think that Halo 4 is actually a good game. I'm a little more gracious towards Halo 4, and I'm going to explain a little more on why I think Halo 4 is still a good Halo game. Here's the thing. I think a lot of people can agree that Halo 5 it's a garbage game. I personally think it's a garbage game. Some people are a little more gracious. And something I did notice is it seems like Halo 4 had a really good campaign in a single player mode. Terrible multiplayer. I don't think it was that bad. It was okay. But Halo 5 had a good multiplayer and a terrible single player game. But I personally don't like Halo 5 more because there were so many changes they made that did not make Halo. I covered a lot on why Halo 5 is trash on my Halo Infinite video. So if you want to know, check that video out. But Halo 4, let's get into the juicy meat here. Guess what? There are still some things I didn't like about Halo 4. Shocker. So before you go bash me in the comments and like, oh, but Halo 4 is an awful game. I hated this. Like, what about this? Let me address the things I didn't like about Halo 4 first, and then I'll tell you the good stuff that I really liked about Halo 4 that kind of makes up for the crappy stuff. A lot of these takeaways that I didn't like are very similar to what Actman has already said. So You know, it's not that I'm copying off of exactly what Ackman is saying. I'm just basically agreeing with some of the things that he has established before. All right, so one of the things I'm going to piggyback off of Ackman is the legendary difficulty. It felt like the famine skull was on. And what made it so tricky about the legendary difficulty in Halo 4 that wasn't as enjoyable was the lack of resource. And what I mean by the lack of the resource is, sure, yeah, you run out of ammo really easily, but what makes it even more difficult is that you don't have very resourceful equipment to do the killing. You got this pulse grenade that takes like 2 seconds when they already moved out of the way. Like, it's completely useless. I absolutely despise the storm rifle. I don't know why they did that. Like, what was wrong with the plasma rifle? What, you needed to make an actual rifle for the Covenant? No. And then the suppressor was utter garbage. Like, there's a lack of precision on that gun. You can hardly hit anything with that gun. Like, the suppressor's useless. So when you have a lack of resource from those guns, which show up a lot throughout the campaign, and you're trying to play on the highest difficulty in Halo, it's not a fun time. Okay, next thing is some of the artwork. Some of the artwork I had gripes on. Specifically the Covenant, because, you know, we've grown up with the Covenant throughout the Halo franchise, from Halo 1 to Halo 3. And Bungie did a really good job in keeping the Covenant's design consistent. I felt like 343 has really broke the Covenant's consistency in terms of their art design. They look a lot more reptilian. They look a lot more alien-like, which is fine. But it's not the good kind of alien different look. You know what I mean? It's just weird. I don't like it. The other thing was there was a lack of consistency in the story, specifically in the beginning. That really was a pet peeve of mine. I mean, the beginning of the cutscene, you know, I know it was supposed to be cool and it's supposed to tell you, like, kind of recap of like what it means to be a Spartan and why, you know, Dr. Halsey made the Spartan program. Okay, this is coming from me personally. I'm a huge Halo guy. Y'all remember this? I read this whole thing. This is the encyclopedia. This was the OG. I read the comics and I read the books. So I know the Spartan program pretty darn well. I don't know why they showed another Cortana to a Spartan, and I don't know why in tarnation all the Spartan armor looked the same as Master Chief. And the worst part is it's the latest generation. This is the Mark 6 modified, basically Gen 2 version that Cortana modified for the suit. So it makes it even lack more of a consistency, because all that armor you see at the beginning for the Spartans, that's specifically Master Chief's that Cortana modified on the Mark 6. Come on, man. I know I'm asking a lot here, but it's small things like that because I'm a consistent guy. I love consistency. And not only am I a Halo guy, I'm a sound guy. Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore have been one of the biggest inspirations in terms of composing music and soundtrack and stuff like that. They've really set the bars for the Halo soundtrack. And Neil Davidge, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm calling him Davidge. Neil Davidge came in, and the soundtrack he made, he had his spotlight moments. The one I really liked was Arrival and Revival, I think. Those were really good ones that had, like, you know, that's the only time I felt like I was getting Halo vibes, and also the Halo 4 menu. That was it. The other thing was just like background music. It didn't feel like there was tension or there was a theme. And then going back to my consistency, it lacked the consistency of the Halo theme throughout the past Halo games. So instead of getting this cool percussive Halo music that builds over time in certain parts of the game, you just get the same thing. Now, the biggest one that bothered me was the soundtrack for Spartan Ops. There was no depth to it. It was very repetitive and obnoxious. And the weird sound, it's so eerie. Literally, here, I will play it on the violin right now. Because, I mean, they play that audio so many times in the Spartan Op missions that I could play it on the violin straight up by ear. It's just this eerie thing like... It's so eerie and annoying. The thing with the Halo 4 campaign is he missed a lot of moments where he could have made his music shine. You know, when you appear on Requiem for the first time, like, here, like, let's just compare some of these moments in the Halo game and change the soundtrack a little where it would make a huge difference in the sound. So that's what I mean when he misses a lot of those spotlight moments where the music really could have shined and it really could just scream Halo. And he totally missed those opportunities. So those are my biggest complaints about Halo 4. So yes, Halo 4 is not the best game. I'm not saying it is great. I'm saying it is good. And here are the reasons why. I don't care what anyone says, okay? Master Chief's new armor, his upgraded Mark 6 armor, I think it's cool. All right, there's just something about his armor that just screams like freaking awesome, like ready to get into combat and just, you know, clap those covey cheeks. The other thing is I'm a person that likes new things, and I get it, like, dealing with the Covenant and the Flood and all that, it's cool and all, but it's, we've been dealing with that for the past 3 games. So trying something new and being able to discover this Forerunner stuff and being able to see the Forerunners for the first time and encountering them and, fighting them and stuff, I think that's cool. There's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me on this because let's be real. Trying to kill the Prometheans, especially the Watchers, they're a pain in the butt. But here's the thing. Again, going back to me being a nerd and knowing the lore, when you're dealing with Forerunner stuff, and if you know anything about Forerunners and the Halo franchise, they're basically gods. When you're dealing with Forerunner enemies, I expect it to be challenging, because that's like god tier stuff. Say what you want about the Watchers and stuff, but it's a challenge. I'm always up for a challenge. And what I liked about the Watchers is it breaks your cycle. You're like forced to take these things out first and then take care of the rest. Like you have to do it in a certain order now. People will disagree, but I bet you these are the same people that complain about the Marauders and Doom Eternal. The other thing is we have been on Halo rings so many times from Halo Combat Evolved to Halo 3. The only time it felt different was in Halo 3 ODST and Halo Reach. And I think that's why, that plays a big reason, because you're exploring something new. It's not just the Halo rings. So with Halo 4, when you're exploring through Requiem and this new planet and this is so mysterious and all this Forerunner stuff, I think it's cool. I also love the atmosphere of this game. It's like a cool, dark atmosphere and the style of it. It feels very apocalyptic. Not as apocalyptic as Halo 3. Halo 3, I think, is different, okay? It hits different. I don't know how to explain it. But I do like the dark atmosphere of Halo 4. But I think the biggest thing for me that I really like about Halo 4 is the story. I'm a story guy. I'm a single player kind of guy. Multiplayer is fun and stuff, but I'm invested in the story. I personally wasn't as confused with the story and I know there's that cutscene with the librarian where they just threw everything at you and you're like, okay, like I need to watch that a few times. But I personally never had that problem just because, again, I'm a nerd. I know the Halo lore pretty well. I can understand for fairly new gamers or gamers that don't know the Halo lore that well, that it would be confusing and intimidating and you just be like, what on earth is going on? There's the whole controversy of, the perception of Master Chief and Cortana and their relationship. Now, people say that was a really rough transition. Honestly, I have to disagree. And the thing is, the Master Chief and Cortana have had these crazy adventures. You've played all the games and, you've been through all this together. The dude had a lot of questions. I mean, he just woke up from cryo sleep from a really long time and the Covenant are fine. Okay, that was another lack of consistency in the story is why the Covenant are suddenly fighting Master Chief and Cortana again. When you're fighting your first elite with the energy sword, he's like, why are they against us? And then Cortana's like, things change over the years. Things just don't change like that. I would like a better explanation as to why, but okay. So I guess we're going against the Covenant again. So I get that whole thing. But yeah, Master Chief's asking questions. He's like, okay, what's going on? What's happening here? And a lot of things are happening and the Fort Unto Dawn is falling apart. And they just needed to get out of there. So once they got out there, they got situated. Then Cortana told him, and he's like, okay, well, this is kind of a big deal. But yeah, being able to see that contrast between Master Chief and Cortana finally, actually gone, I thought it was going to add a whole new depth to Master Chief and how he was going to operate. Because, throughout these years, they worked together. Cortana would help, decrypt the Covenant stuff so he could get on through his mission and stuff like that. They work together really close like that. And now that he doesn't, I thought it would be cool. And then Halo 5 happened, and they're like, let's revive this bitch. Because I thought it would be really cool to see what Master Chief could do without Cortana. I thought that would be cool. But that's a whole can of worms I'm not going to open in this video. They've been around for years. You're talking about 8 or 9 years being together, and now things are falling apart. And being able to see that, I don't know, to me it makes sense. I will say it would be nicer to know what Forerunners could do more, because even in the comics and the books, they're very vague of what Forerunners' powers are specifically. I will say the Didact had a lot of potential. He was already cool. My issue was, I feel like they kind of did him dirty. The boss fight was very anticlimactic. I thought it was going to be this really cool boss fight when I first played Halo 4. But no, you just yeet him off this weird bridge and he just falls. So I guess you could add that as a little complaint. But again, what I'm trying to say overall in this video is Halo 4 was new. You discovered something new. We got to discover Forerunners for the first time. Their Forerunner technology like nothing other. The story was really good. Having to see the contrast between Master Chief, Cortana, how UNSC Infinity was dealing with it, and then Spartan Ops, which was okay, but also being able to see, how Spartan Ops treated Dr. Halsey and, that whole thing and stuff like that. So again, Halo 4 is good. I guess after seeing the Halo 5 campaign, it makes Halo 4 story look good. That's why I like Halo 4. That's why I have a little more appreciation for Halo 4 now. Because, yeah, Halo 5, just get that thing away from me. It's not canon. I refuse to believe that is canon. That's how much I hate it. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want more content like this, I'm gonna try and be more consistent in uploading videos. If you want to check out my Twitch streams, be sure to check that out too. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. I'm open to opinions. So otherwise, my statement stands. Halo 4 is a good game. Not terrible, not the greatest, not even great. It's just good. That's all I have to say. Boy.